Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, AI Tools for OR Education, Leveraging AMPLBOT and COPT ORLM for Interactive Learning, presented jointly by AMPL and Cardinal Operations Technology. My name is Ina Agastra. I'm Senior Manager of Academic Programs here at AMPL and your moderator for today. Today's session explores how AI tools are creating new opportunities for teaching and learning OR while maintaining the rigor and depth that are central to optimization education. We'll introduce AMPLBOT, an AI assistant that helps students build and understand optimization models step by step, and COPT's ORLM Colormind, a large language model designed to support OR workflows and learning. We'll also demonstrate the Cookie Game, an interactive learning tool that helps students focus on problem solving and intuition before transitioning into formal optimization modeling. Before we begin, just a few quick notes. This webinar is being recorded and will be shared following the session. Please feel free to submit your questions throughout the webinar using the Q&A panel. We will reserve time at the end for audience discussion and questions. Today, I'm very pleased to be joined by Professor Zizhuo Wang, co-founder and CTO at Cardinal Operations and Associate Dean at the School of Data Science at the Chinese University of Hong Kong, Shenzhen. Sophia Yao is also joining, Solution Consultant at Cardinal Operations, and my colleague Marcos Dominguez-Vilad, Senior Software Developer at AMPL as well. Thank you again for joining us today. With that, I'll hand it over to our speakers to get us started. Marcos, please take it away.
Thank you, Ina. So let me share screen. Can you watch my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So hello, everyone. I'm Marcos from the development team at Ample, and today we're going to talk about LLMs for our education, particularly AMPLBOT to assist modeling. And first, a brief introduction. So AMPL is a modeling tool to express optimization problems with a natural syntax that is really clear and close to natural language. We allow linear, nonlinear problems, MIPS, and we also give access to all the relevant solvers, commercials like COPT from the Cardinal team, and also open source ones. But today we're not focusing on AMPL or AMPLPy. So let me first speak a bit about our story with AI. And first thing is that ChatGPT was released by the end of 2022. And the first big conference after that for Ample was Informs Analytics 2023 in Aurora, Colorado. And I remember we brought some machines and screens to show how Ample works in Jupyter Notebooks with AmplePy. And ChatGPT started to become a thing at that point, again, a lot of popularity. And many of us didn't take it too seriously since it wasn't able to do, let's say, proper maths or proofs or solve complex problems. But someone at the Ample team at that time, who was Martin Laskowski, started to use ChatGPT in the conference to show how well it was writing Ample code. And many of the attendees thought it was something just funny, anecdotal, or even dummy, including ourselves. But Martin was the most surprised with every prompt he was throwing because the LLM was able to write quite neat and very correct sample code, or even templates you could modify afterwards. And that's the escape shift at that moment. So Martin was showing to the attendees how to write a vehicle routing problem in Ample or write a template for a MIP allocation problem or take this mathematical formulation from your paper and let's write an Ample model out of it. Sometimes it got it wrong. For example, with complex problems like vehicle routing problems, the first version of ChatGPT was missing all the constraints related to subtours because they are not easy constraints. They are harder to think about. So it was giving partial wrong formulations. But look at where we are now. LLMs are writing most of the code everywhere, and that includes optimization models. So that's why we are talking about LLMs today. And we were surprised at the time, but we are still surprised nowadays with the high level of knowledge LLMs have about AMPL, because LLMs know it really well and they are able to write and fix AMPL models easily. Maybe because AMPL syntax is so clear and easy to understand, or perhaps because it has been there for a while. And that's why generic LLMs from providers like Claude, DeepSeek, Gemini, they are all proficient in AMPL. And creating something that adds value over a generic LLM was mm, not that straightforward because they are already really good at optimization. So uh, with these foundations, we started to think about creating Amplebot, which is a modeling assistant specialized in OR with Ample. Uh, and Amplebot is aware of our latest documentation, features, AmplePy. It's able to write robust models, workflows from scratch. It also helps with syntax, troubleshooting, explainability. And we're also providing, we're also improving troubleshooting and error handling from the Ample side. And AmpleBot is not only for beginners, but also for practitioners. For example, myself, when I want to do something with AmplePy, I usually uh, use AmpleBot. So when teaching OR, you can use LLMs to put closer optimization on students. Uh, and we'll hear more about this from the Cardinal team. But concerning AmpleBot, the main usage is being an assistant for modeling, because it helps have a smoother interaction with the tool. You can ask for syntax, how to debug an invisible problem, get the IIS, write some special constraints, and so on. And then code from custom LLMs is usually quite good and reliable because there shouldn't be that many hallucinations. Of course, these LLMs are not perfect, and in any case, it's really important that you understand what is happening underneath, that you understand the formulation and the mapping between the decisions in the model and the real problem. And AMPO syntax is natural, so it can be read by any person familiar with operations research. But Amplebot can speed up this learning process and make it less frustrating. And we have also released a new page in the dev site with documentation about Amplebot and other AI products or tools we are providing. And another interesting thing is that Amplebot is not attached to a single vendor. So it's available in different shapes for free. You can get it from the main providers. You can get it as a GPT in ChatGPT, as a Gem in Gemini, as a Cloud skill that you can port easily, or even as a Jupyter notebook. And the reason behind all these platforms is because if you already have an account mm, with them or even a paying subscription, you'll get better performance with that provider. And then this way we are not attached to a single one because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. For example, now Anthropic is doing awesome. However, we don't know what's going to be the landscape in a few months. And in particular, the notebook LM is especially good to ask about ample documentation and particular syntax. So all these different shapes of the Amplebot are can be useful for different cases. And now I'm going to finish just showing a simple comparison between the generic ChatGPT nowadays versus the custom Amplebot. In this case, I'm going to use Amplebot as GPT in ChatGPT. just with a generic simple prompt, you shouldn't do that. You should write stronger prompts to get better results. But let's try just asking, write a TSP problem in Ample to ChatGPT first and then to AMPLBot to see the differences. So I have opened the links here. If we go to basic ChatGPT in chatgpt.com, write an ample model for a TSP problem. It will provide a model file that will include the empty set subtotal elimination constraints, a dat file, and a run file. And the difference with the AmpleBot, with AmpleBot here, is that the answer is going to be already working Python workflow. It's going to provide a model in Ample syntax and then a Python script that is loading the data and doing everything. But there is something even more interesting for this test. So let's run it. Let's open this file directly in Visual Studio Code. Let's see what happens with the ChatGPT model. So let's copy the model file here. Let's copy that file with the data for the problem. And let's copy the script to run the problem. And let's run it. Okay, so you see that it's prompting, is displaying some kind of error because the model is actually wrong. There is a missing syntax here because we are using ordered nodes and so on. But so ChatGPT is given a model that is close to work, but it's actually uh, not working completely. You need to modify it to make it work. However, if you were using the Amplebot directly, let's write the model from the Ample from Amplebot, and this model is already correct because when you type when you copy the Python script to run everything, let me run this. It's already giving the optimal solution uh, without any change. So in this case, Amplebot is superior and it's also giving a already working uh, optimization workflow. Okay, that's all. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Marcos. Appreciate that. So if there's any questions, again, feel free to pop them in the Q&A and we'll address them at the end. I also forgot to note my colleague Juan Bohorquez is also joining us here and he'll be helping answer any questions. So with that, Professor Wang, the floor is yours.
Okay, sure. Uh, Let me share my screen here. Uh, can you see it?
Not yet.
Okay.
It's loading.
What about now?
Ah,
Yeah.
yes, we do see it
Okay,
now.
good.
I
All
like
right.
that icon there. The
Thank you. I guess it's generated by AI, I assume.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Well, hello everyone. It's a great pleasure to talk at this webinar here about our AI tools in our education. So I'm Zhuang from Cardinal Operations, and also, meanwhile, I'm also a professor at School of Data Science at the Chinese University of Hong Kong and Shenzhen. Um, as I just introduced, I'm both a professor and also a entrepreneur in the AI arena. So, myself, I've been teaching in the university for more than 14 years so far. So, we have been teaching in many different students, undergrad, master, MBA student, PhD student. Of course, recently there have been a growing attention about how to incorporate AI in the various stage of education. So we have been trying to do some of our experiments. So I would like to share some of the things we have done, some latest development in this part. So first of all, I think many of you have realized that there have been a lot of changes in the era of AI. So all the business have been changing. So a lot of things that used to be done by humans are now not replaced, but assisted by AI. So there's certainly growing need for people training students with certain AI skills. So, but I mean, my original subject is in the area of expertise is in operations research, which of course I assume a lot of attendees today are familiar with. And OR is very useful in practice, but it's also very hard to use it in practice because there's need a very high level of expertise to build the optimization model or OR model and also to solve those problems. So even though there's a lot of demand, but the supply, the talent has a difficult time of catching up with the supply. So that's reason we have been thinking that maybe by using AI we can help a lot of these companies or these problems that we can use AI plus OR to solve those problems. Okay. So as I mentioned, so there's a high challenge to apply operations research or optimization tools in industry. There's a high learning cost, and also optimization models are pretty sensitive, right? So as you probably know, right? So even if you write one wrong constraint or objective function, then the entire answer might be wrong. So it's very sensitive to the input, and there is also a huge communication gap between people who are, using the tool and who are building this tool, right? So usually the people who are using more business oriented, they do not necessarily always describe their problems clearly. But engineer, so on the other hand, they do not understand our technique, the OR technique. So there's some gap in terms of the way we communicate, and also it's very sometimes the problem itself is very hard. So so basically there's a lot of challenge in applying this OR tools in practice. But as I mentioned, so large language models provide some opportunities to help making OR more accessible in various scenarios. Okay. So this is some challenge we mentioned, but if you just apply the foundation model, so if you just ask ChatGPT, sometimes or oftentimes it cannot give a correct answer, and because as I mentioned, the OR model is very sensitive to the input, so even a missing constraint or wrong variable type or misunderstood some part of the question may just give the plain wrong answer to the problems. So therefore, there's a need for a more specialized or large language model to help solve these problems. Okay. So actually, this leads to one work we have been doing the last few years. So basically, to develop a more, as I mentioned, more specialized large language model who are better at building optimization models and can utilizing like solvers, these tools to solve these problems. So actually, this is a paper, this is a research project we've been doing the past few years. And the model we developed, we call the ORLM, so OR large language models. So basically, we developed a framework for building these more powerful AI OR large language models. Of course, one challenge was to generate enough data to train this model. So basically, the idea is you have some basic model like the foundation model, and then you use some very specialized data, high quality data to train this model to further enhance its capability in solving these problems. So we developed a certain framework or process to generate high quality data, and then use data to train on top of any foundation models. And of course, another advantage is we have the solvers. So maybe some of you are familiar. So Cardinal Operations, one of our core technologies, the optimization solvers. So far, we have our COPT 8.0, which the performance of which is currently ranking mostly number one and some second place in most of different problem types. So our large language models will be able to build the model and call the solvers to solve different types of problems. So this is a typical kind of example. So you input the natural language described problem, then the output will be a formulation and also a programming code that can call the solvers and then solve the problems. Okay. And then now come to the education part. So how we can incorporate all these technologies in the classroom teachings. So of course first of all the goal of education has been shifting in the past year. So of course in the past we train mostly technical things. So we teach them student how to build a model, how to write code. And of course, in business schools, we teach them, more about business itself. We don't teach them any technical stuff. But now I think things have been blending together because of the growing use of AI. So basically, these two roles, in a lot of cases, will be merged into one. So one person that can both understand the business scenarios, but on the other hand, can use AI to use the proper tools to solve problems. And therefore, so we want to have a more, integrate way of training this student. So instead of training, teaching them technical knowledge, we are using this more problem-driven approach. So basically, we want help them to go through the whole process of problem solving using AI tools. We start from a real business question, and then we empower them with all these tools we have built, the large language model we have shown just now, and also the solvers, and also the other large language model functions, for example, displaying the result, analyzing result, and generating some business insight. So then they can, go through the entire process of solving a certain business problems using various tools, and then, they can get familiar with all this, which can be very useful in practice. Okay. And of course, we also want to make this more accessible, or students will enjoy this process. So we actually make many of this real problem solving process into a certain type of game where people can play and also compete in the game. So, but of course, during the process, they learn important business concept. They use AI tools. They analyze data. Of course, all using this AI assisted method. And then, of course, they compete to get a better result. So here is a short video about the game, which we call the cookie game, because it's in the context of a company which make cookies. So maybe I will quickly play this video, and you can see some screenshot of the game and how this works. Okay. Let me play this.
Do you know how to bring real-world industry projects into the classroom, seamlessly connecting learning with practice? How to turn traditional lectures into immersive interactive sessions for everyone? How to empower different background students to apply technical theory to real business scenarios? The cookie game is your all-in-one solution, built on real digital transformation cases from Cardinal Operations. This is a hands-on business decision-making game that combines role-playing, large language models, and point-based competition. Students take on roles and collaborate as a team to complete a digital transformation project. The game features separate portals for teachers and students. The teacher's portal comes with a full set of courseware and provides complete control over the process, allowing instructors to run a full class session with minimal preparation. In teams of three with three corresponding scripts, students complete three major tasks to experience the entire intelligent decision-making process. Task 1. Members draw roles, read their script, and identify the decision-making problems, objectives, and constraints for modeling. Task 2. Using the output from Task 1, students leverage large language models to generate solutions, interacting with the AI, to extract key business insights and data value. Task 3. After understanding the model and business logic, students experience how to quickly find the optimal solution amidst various changes and business choices. The game also includes hidden undercover tasks. AI-powered auto-grading. Teachers can effortlessly conduct the entire class. Students earn points for each task, with certificates awarded based on final score. No coding or modeling expertise is needed. Students gain a hands-on experience for business processes while developing strategic thinking and the ability to drive innovation with AI. The game is already a proven success in courses at universities like Shanghai Jiaotong University, Zhejiang University, the Chinese University of Hong Kong, Shenzhen, Nanjing University. The game fits a wide range of majors and courses. Reach out to us to learn more.
Yeah, so hope this give you some more concrete idea about what the cookie game is. So as you have just seen, so there's quite a few the scenarios our team developed, all revolving around certain type of important business process, mostly like supply chains or marketing, optimize pricing, etc. So each scenario there's a context and people use the AI tools to make decisions in those contexts, and then of course they can get their result. Of course, then teacher can also teach them the concept behind this problem. Of course, you can teach either before it or after it, of course, depending on the way you prefer. Of course, we also have all the data embedded in this game. So they, of course, it's not just a concept. They have data. They can, use this data to do analysis and then, of course, build models, etc. So these are the all the scenarios we have. You can see it covers various aspects in different type of business. And remember, I said in this game, actually, the student will also use this large language model we built to interact with AI and to build models for these problems. So here is also a very short video showing that if you want to solve certain type of problems, you enter some prompt, and then of course this will be very interactive. So the AI will also ask you to provide more detailed informations, and then you provide them, and then of course it can build the models. Of course, if you prompt uh, properly, and then step by step, in the end, it will basically help you generate certain models, and then give some result, generate code, and then you can apply it and use. The solvers are also embedded, so basically you get the solutions, and then you can also analyze the solution, get all the result you need, and then get back to the task you are facing. So this is using these large language models in the process. Um, and based on this, actually, we this is just one module of this. But basically, we are building an entire course based on this platform, which we call the Colormind platform, which contains the cookie games and also the AI, the large language model for all our tools, and also quite a few cases that we accumulated during our past 10 years working with industry, and also there are various quizzes and etc. So actually, we are adopting this for some of the state of the art courses. Here we, are building in various universities in China. So basically, you can use this for certain like AI decision making or operations management courses. So we use this this platform, the game, to motivate students, and then of course then you can also teach the classical concept like inventory or pricing or whatever during this courses. Actually, we already done this in a few places, and I think that has been quite well received, because I myself have been also teaching this in various places. Okay. Yeah, there's also some games we developed. I will go rather quickly here. There's an inventory, game here. Um, so yeah, so basically there are some more details. These are some cases we have. So basically, for each case, it's like traditional business cases. You will learn from business schools, but the difference is we have all the datas. You can use AI to build these models, and you can run these datas. It's not only the concept or some insight. It also more hands-on and more data involved. I think this is not very common in the current business school teachings, but we think it's very also important to have this hands-on experience without knowing all the technical detail. You can use AI to, handle this, but one person can go through the entire process. So that I think is also very useful for students. So these are some pictures we took at this is for MBA classes. People are playing the game and then interact. A very interactive classroom. So I guess that's all I want to introduce here. Thanks very much for listening, and I'm ready to take any questions you have.
Thank you, Professor Wang. There was a question in the chat that Sophia's just answered now, but it was around, and it was my question as well, is how to access this for educators and students. How could they access this platform?
Yeah, so actually, let me see if I have, I think there is a barcode somewhere, so you can scan and get some more informations. Let me see. So, yeah, it's not here. So actually, you can also log on to our website. There's a, www dot AI. Maybe Sophia, you can send in the chat box, and then people can request some access to this platform. Yeah, so the platform we can give a account, and you can try like the AI large language models, and of course, I mean some versions of the game and etc.
Okay, wonderful. So with that, I also want to add that in terms of AMPL tool, we have free academic licenses for educators, researchers, and students as well. Just something to mention, and that those are available through ampl.com/academia as well. Maybe Marcos, you can jump in here while we wait for any questions, just to maybe clarify a little bit the interplay between AMPL and COPT, for example, because there was a question earlier on in terms of the nuance between COPT being a solver, for example, and AMPL a modeling language. So did you want to jump in and clarify that a little bit further in terms of the connection between the two?
Sure. So many of you may know one or both tools, but AMPL is basically a modeling tool to build optimization problems, and you can use AMPL to connect to solvers like COPT or many others. So AMPL is basically not solving an optimization problem. You are just writing in the AMPL syntax, and then everything goes underneath in an automatical way to the solver, and this allows being solver agnostic is has some advantages, I would say the main advantage here is that ample syntax is really good to develop models. And CFT is also one of the best solvers nowadays. So you can basically use the best of the two worlds here for modeling and solving. And
Wonderful. Thank you. So again, if there's any more questions, feel free to type them in, or if you'd like to just ask your question live, we still have a few more minutes here that we can help. Thank you to our audience for listening. Of course, after this session, you can get in touch with us as well as our partner here, Cardinal Operations, through the links that they mentioned and the email accounts. Very exciting in the sense that, of course, in OR, you need the foundations. You need to build that critical thinking and foundations in terms of building models. But we have now these elaborate tools that can help support and fasten or make it faster for experts to be able to solve and troubleshoot with OR with AI tools. Okay, I'm not seeing any more questions. Professor Wang or Marcos, any last comments before we wrap up in the meantime?
No, I don't have. Thank you very much. And if there are any questions, you can. I think my team has sent the email address. You can feel free to send any question to that email. So hopefully some days you will try this and you will like it.
Thank you. Marcos, anything else to add before we wrap up?
yeah, I have a couple minor points. So in terms of LLMs and so on, and modeling for optimization, I think something usually tricky that I didn't mention during the presentation is tuning solvers to get the best performance and dealing with solver options, because solvers usually have hundreds of options, and it's hard to navigate this documentation and also choose the best options. So LLMs are also really good at that. So you can use this kind of LLM assistance to access this more advanced content. So basically dealing with solver options. And then another note on the cookie game. I'm also quite surprised because nowadays it seems like LLMs are making us look somehow inferior or lazier because they are able to do a lot of amazing things. However, the cookie game is not like that. The cookie game is actually helping train students to understand all the roles in an optimization environment, like the product owner, the supply chain manager. I saw some screenshots about that, data scientists, and so on. So these students are getting trained in everything. So there is some potential to have a level up for our students, because they will be able to handle many, many different roles. That's not necessarily uh, the case, but someone could be diversified and handle more roles easily. I'm wondering what could be the roles in the future. If it, would it make sense to talk about a product owner, optimization, support, or something like that in the future, or there will be someone taking care of basically many of the roles we have nowadays? So that's all. I really like these kinds of tools because they are not using the LLM just to do your job. They are using LLMs to help you understanding the environment and becoming a better professional.
Yes, absolutely. Helping you expedite kind of that learning process and the helping you with the work itself, but not necessarily doing or thinking for you, which is important. We shouldn't let that get away from us. So thanks again. No more questions in the Q&A here as I see. Thank you very much to both of you, Professor Wong and Marcos, for your presentations, and I hope for the educators joining us today that they found some additional tools and means to be able to further OR education in their classroom. So very much appreciate your time. We will wrap up for today, and we hope to have another session at some point in the future to see how these things are shaping up. Thank you. Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.